Welcome to Frost Astrophotography. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the last of the data left from last season, and that is Messier 45, or the Pleiades. So the Pleiades, or Seven Sisters, it's an open star cluster about 444 light years from Earth. It is among the nearest star clusters, and it is the nearest Messier object to Earth. The Pleiades can be seen with the naked eye if you are at a dark enough location. I know here at my Bortle 4 location, I can see it with my naked eye as a fuzzy spot in the night sky. And if I look at it long enough and closely and don't have any lights turned on, I can see some stars in that cluster. The reflection nebulae that is also visible in this image was long thought to be leftovers from the creation of the stars in this star cluster, but recently it is thought that this is star dust just passing through the interstellar medium and is illuminated by the stars in the star cluster. I thought it would be fun to compare the image that I captured with my mono camera, with the LRGB filters, with my DSLR image that I captured almost 2 years ago. Let's jump into PixInsight and look at some processing steps and the final image and compare it to the DSLR image. First of all, let's go through some numbers here. I captured a total of 146 frames, and those consist of 31 luminous frames for 120 seconds, and 12 luminance frames for 300 seconds. Then I also captured 31 frames of 120 seconds red, 31 frames of 120 seconds green, and 41 frames of 120 seconds blue. That is a total of 5.4 hours. You can see on the screen here, I have the luminous frame here, and that is the most data in this image. And then I have red and green and blue. I intentionally captured some more blue because blue is the natural color of the nebulae that is visible in this image here. When looking at the luminance, you can see that the stars are very bright, and that is also because they are fairly close to Earth at 444 light years. And luminance also captured or captures a lot of data in the frames. And I only have 7 nanometers, so there might be some halo effects around the stars here since they are very bright. I also have, like I said, 12 frames of 300 seconds in here. That is normally not that common to use for this object due to the brightness of the stars here. I want to first compare the stacked images here because these are stacked and drizzled, and I have the original stacked image here from 2 years ago. This was one of my first objects captured. I was using the same telescope, but I was using at the time my Canon 60D camera. So this is 20 frames, 120 seconds, so 40 minutes of data in total. And this image is just stacked. Nothing else has been done to it. I thought it would be interesting also to compare a single light frame. So on the left here, you have a single light frame of 120 seconds using my Canon DSLR, and on the right here you have a single 120 seconds light frame with the luminance filter using my ASI 294mm Pro camera and the luminance filter. I must say though, this was in the beginning of my career. It was maybe my second attempt at astrophotography overall. So the second time I used my rig and camera when capturing this frame with my limited knowledge and equipment. As for camera, compared to the right here with a cooled astro camera 2 years later on using my observatory. But I would say that you get a fairly good result with the image to the left here as in comparison to the right, even though there's a lot more information in the one to the right, and we have some finer star shapes, maybe some better tracking and guiding. I don't know if how I did my polar alignment back then. Maybe it was a manual one using the mount. Let's go through some processing steps here. In the linear phase, I had to do some cropping of the image due to integration issues, but this is the cropped luminance stack. I'm going just to show you the luminance channel now, but the processing made to this has also been done for the rest of the filters, of course. Regardless of broadband or narrowband, I would say that my processing steps for the linear phase are completely the same. So on the image to the right here, I've done the dynamic background extraction and linear fit, as well as blur and noise exterminator. So the results might not be that impressive when looking at them zoomed out like this, but if I were to zoom in here, for example, on an area, you can see that there is quite a difference between the two, both in the size and sharpness of the stars here and on the noise level in this image. So there has been a lot of noise removal as well as removal of the background. And that is what we want to achieve in the linear phase here. So once again, I did this processing for all of the four filters. And then I proceeded to go over to the non-linear phase. The first thing that I do in the non-linear phase is, of course, to stretch the image, and you can use histogram transformation or any of the other tools to help you with the stretching. After that, I have removed the stars on all of the images. As you can see here, since you have the very large stars, you might get a result that looks something like this on my screen here. You can see that the very large stars are still present. You might get another result using another method of star removal other than star exterminator, but since these big stars are going to be integrated back into the image here, I don't really care about them at this point. What I did do in this instance was to make a range mask using the range selection process that you can find here under all processes and range selection. And after using that to make a range mask covering the nebulosity in the luminance filter frame, I use that on all of my frames to manipulate the background and adjust the darkness of the background here. Next step is to combine the L, R, G, and B filter master frames to make a color image, and that turned out like this just by adding them together with the process here that is called LRGB combination. And that might look a bit funny at first sight because I get some weird colors here everywhere, and the blue is not really the deep blue that I want, and I also have some other colors here in the nebulae or nebulosity that is the dust cloud, but I guess that is normal. The cloud here is not all blue actually. So the first thing I did was to run SCNR on this as I do on my narrowband images to remove some of the green. And when inverted, it also removes magenta that is visible on the stars here. And I don't want that. So after running through SCNR, both normal and inverted, I ended up with something like this. Then I made some color masks for red and blue, or I actually made the color masks before running SCNR, of course, just after integrating LRGB frames. That allowed me to manipulate the red and blue individually in this image so that I could get the nuance of blue that I want in my image. Now the halo is pretty visible here on this star. Hopefully I will be able to get maybe some new filters in the future that will be better at handling this. But I guess that this is also a consequence of me running 300-second exposures on this object. Like I normally do on my narrowband images, I run some sharpening, the multiscale linear transformation tool, and the unsharp mask to sharpen the image or the nebulosity. And as a final step, I run TGV denoise to remove some of the noise in the image. Let me zoom in here to show you what I mean. You can see here that maybe not that good with the YouTube compression algorithms, but there is a slight difference. You have some grains here, some noise in the image, and on the image to the left here there's a little bit less noise. We always are talking about subtle changes when it comes to these images. After that, I was fairly pleased with that image. It was time to take a look at the stars. I did the same process of combining the L, R, G, and B stars, of course, and then I end up with the same problem. As you are going to see here soon, since the stars are very big, I get some residues of the stars that Star Exterminator was not able to remove. But again, not a big problem since I'm going to use the stars here. So this was the original. I repeated the SCNR protocols or process on the stars here, running through both of the normal and inverted, removing green and magenta from the image. You can still see that the stars are fairly large, and the very large stars here is not a big problem because, like I said, I'm going to integrate these back into the image. But then I did what I usually do just to enhance the nebulosity in the image, and that is what I think is one of the most interesting parts of this. I did a star reduction here just by using the histogram transformation tool to reduce the stars somewhat. So I'm left with the stars on the left here and the nebulosity on the right. And then I integrated the two and did some final adjustments using curves. I also think I slightly adjusted the colors one more time, and I ended up with this image here, and this is LRGB with LRGB stars of Messier 45, the Pleiades, or Seven Sisters, if you would. There are a lot of names for this object in the night sky. The moment you've all been waiting for, I hope. Let's compare the image that I produced with the Astro camera to the image that I produced 2 years ago with my Canon DSLR. Now keep in mind that the image to the left here is about 40 minutes of data, and the image on the right here is about 5.4 hours worth of data. So the left, my Canon 60D, the right is the ASI 294mm Pro cooled astro camera with LRGB filters. I also inspected some of the frames, and there were some clouds and other things that I incorporated in the image. You can see that on the stars here. The spikes here are not due to my telescope, but it is due to clouds, I'm afraid. But that was my processing skills at the time. My second night out ever in this hobby. I think you might be able to squeeze out more of the data that I have with some other processing steps. I might have destroyed some of the data or something, but I'm also still learning in this hobby. The weather is not looking great up here in the northern parts of Sweden. I've only managed to image during 2 sessions this season. I captured about 18 hours worth of data. I'm saving up for a couple of new projects. Hopefully I will get some clear skies in the near future so that my observatory can work some more and I have new videos for you. I might also have some other content coming your way, so stay tuned, but for now, enjoy this image. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already doing so. If you want to support the production of these videos, there is an option listed in the video description that you can use. As always, until the next video, I wish you have clear skies.